Hey everybody, we're back. It's Aaron Hogan, Isiah Collier. It's the Easy Cast, your crew from the morning show. I'm Aaron with B&E, and of course Zay produces, so it's the Easy Cast, recapping what we talked about, big stories of the day, big stories of the week. And big story this morning was Texas basketball picking up a victory, their first win. They'd lost 3 straight, 4 of 5. Went to K-State, built a big second-half lead, and had to hold on for a 3-point victory. But win is a win, and here on the Easy Cast, trying to figure out what is going on with this basketball team. What did you take positive last night, Zay, from the 3-point win on the road against the second-to-last place team in the Big 12?
Well, we actually saw Shaka make adjustments with the rotation and the lineup. Against the Oklahoma State game, the 3 guards got way too many minutes with over at least 42 minutes a game. And yes, that game was in double overtime, but that's still way too many minutes for certain players, especially with how deep this Texas team is. And we talked about it before the season started. This is the deepest team that Shaka's ever had. And sometimes you don't really see Shaka using that depth, like he should. And this was the first game where we saw, Kamaka Heba get in there. Chase Frederick coming off of that injury. We saw him a little bit. So, guys that, could space out the floor and could help you in different ways. We saw that against Kansas State, even though it was a tough win.
Well, and it's fair to say that Shaka, you got to make adjustments here. You can't keep trying to do the same thing. Big 12 coaches, the talent too good. They know what you want to do. They've seen enough games now. You're 10 games into Big 12 play. They're going to take away what you want to be, and you're going to have to make some adjustments. And that, let's be honest, that has not been a strength, folks. Shaka Smart, over the course of his now 6 years in Austin, these coaches are really good. And no matter you're playing the 9th place team or the 2nd place team, you've got to adjust as the conference schedule evolves, or else you're going to get beat.
Exactly, and Shaka's always made a name for himself on the defensive end, and while on the offensive end he allows a lot of freedom, and that could be good sometimes, and that could
street
be
ball.
Yeah, and that could be bad.
Dribble, shoot.
Exactly. So you don't see as many set plays as you would like to see. Greg Brown got a really good alley-oop yesterday that was, drawn from a set play, and you like to see that, and you really just want to see guys get better each game. I think the COVID really hit them hard, and no, that's not an excuse because everybody has to deal with it, but as far as the depth that UT has, it was a struggle for them, and I think you saw that this week versus Kansas State and Oklahoma State.
Well, it's something to watch now, and we didn't get into it much on the show, but it was brought to our attention at the end of the show. Royce Hams had a tweet last night after the game. Royce Hams, a big man for Texas, plays the 4 position, tweeting loyalty doesn't mean anything, essentially. Is that a sign that Royce Hams, as you said, they changed up the rotations, more guys getting minutes, and all of a sudden Royce Hams doesn't play at all? Yeah. The last thing they need right now is a distraction or a discouraged player. Shaka did say that he'd have to, meet with Royce and figure that out, but not what you want to see with a team that's trying to get back on track, to have a player frustrated with playing time.
Yeah, not at all. And we saw that with Will Baker before the season even started, and he transferred to Nevada because he knew, with this team, there's going to be, not that many minutes to go around for everybody. And, I think that Royce Hams, I think he's going to have a wake-up call and understand that there's a bigger picture here, and you got to perform on the court. And if you're not performing on the court, then it's hard for you to play. And Royce Hams could be very inconsistent sometimes. And, there's guys like Kai Jones. I don't think he got over 20 minutes yesterday. And Jericho Sims, sometimes he's not finishing out games. So for Royce Hams to be, upset or disgruntled about his playing time is very concerning, but they should nip it in the butt very soon.
Yeah, and what you don't want to see a play right after the game, go into a Twitter to put that out there. Keep it in the locker room, deal with it as a coach to player kind of thing, because you're right, it's a situational thing, matchups, and to your point, when you get on the floor, minutes can be promised, but then when you get those minutes, you got to earn them. Yeah. You got to keep earning them, and so we'll see where that goes. Now, look, this Texas team, as frustrating as it can be, there's so much talent. We've seen them play to a top 5 level this year. We've seen them smoke Kansas at Kansas. They beat West Virginia in West Virginia. They beat North Carolina earlier this year in that big tournament. They were 10-1, and now even with the win last night, it just feels like they're sinking and not heading in a good direction. And meanwhile, you got West Virginia, who beat Texas Tech last night in Lubbock. They're up to 7-3 now. They're ahead of Texas, alone in 2nd place with Bob Huggins. And we talked a lot on the show. This next stretch, right? Texas, they get a little break here from Wednesday now. Game play Tuesday night. They get to play Saturday. But that Saturday stretch, say, will launch a 4-game in 7-day stretch. They're going to play Saturday on a home to TCU, go to Norman, Oklahoma next Tuesday. They're going to follow that up with a quick trip back to Ames, Iowa on Thursday night to play a rematch or a game that was postponed for COVID earlier this year. And then they're going to come back and play West Virginia at the Irwin Center on Saturday. So, sandwiched around TCU and squeezed in between TCU and Iowa State are going to be huge games with teams that are above them in the standings in Oklahoma and West Virginia. They got to handle this week will define what this season is for Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're headed into March, you want to be playing your best basketball. This Texas team, we talked about last week, they gotta get their swagger back. And you see it at times, like Andrew Jones, he's never lacking confidence. That's a guy that's always going to be ready to play. But then, when you got guys like Jericho Sims who are a little bit more quiet, Greg Brown still learning the game. He got a really bad technical last night that, you don't like to see. But you also want, to see guys, really have that will to win. I think that's what you got caught with Greg Brown yesterday. I think he was just, really playing hard and got a little frustrated due to all the games that UT has lost thus far. But when you're at the end of February or coming towards the end of February, you just want to be playing your best basketball, and that's really what's important for the Horns right now.
Isiah Collier, basketball insider, basketball expert, bringing the knowledge right there on Texas. I'm Aaron Hogan. I'm going to ask you this every time we do an EasyCast now. We'll do it a couple times a week. I won't ask you again until next week. But what right now is your ceiling for this Texas team? The best they could finish, what is this a Final Four caliber team in your mind for what you're seeing, Sweet 16 or below that?
I still think this team could be in the Final Four. I really do. I think, you could come, when you get in March, I think there are teams that will fold under the pressure. I think that UT is deep enough to beat anyone in the country. Even Baylor, Baylor separates themselves from a lot of people, but when it comes to, being physically and athletically gifted, UT's right there. And it's all about just Shaka coaching them up in the matchups that they play. So I know right now it's not looking good for UT. I know they've been scouted very well, and I think, that's what you've been seeing these last few games. And I think they need to just get back to work, and once they do, they can figure it out.
All right, Final Four. It says, if they play to their potential, the words Shaka coaching them up is going to scare some people, I think, when they get to this. But wait, let's see. They're through the COVID issue. They got the win last night. And, again, 4 games in 7 days starting Saturday will determine this team. All right, that'll do it for the EasyCast. We'll join you again on Friday and preview the big weekend, including the Longhorns and TCU. The rest of the events, no football. Super Bowl's over. Zay, you picked the Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs. Both wrong. Go Bucks. Tom Brady. They're going to have a parade today. That's pretty awesome. But we'll see you again on the EasyCast. And remember, tune in every morning 6 to 10 on B&E, whether it's live, local, or digital. We'll do these digital events as well. We're live and local all day, every day on the Horn. Have a wonderful one.